right, welcome back to my channel. I have a little bit of a cold right now, so please forgive the way my voice sounds on top of that. I'm doing this on my front-facing camera, my cell phone. Let's do a throwback back to like 2008. My camera, I don't have my camera. The rear camera on my phone broke, so audio is gonna be shit, video is gonna be shit, whatever. I'm just here to kind of tell my story. As you can tell from the title of this video, I'm gonna tell you about my Ancestry results and what I found out from all of that. So I think to start this video off, it's gonna be kind of a story time. So if you like story times, kind of hang around. If you just wanna see my results, I'll put a timestamp for when those are. But in order to kind of give you my history, I think I need to back up to before I was born. So my biological mother, and I'm not going to be saying real names in this, I'm not going to be showing faces just because I didn't get approval from any of the people to do that, but before I was born, I have an older brother, and he is about 9 years older than I am. We shared the same mother. She got custody of my older brother. She was married, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times, something like that. She had I don't want to call it a habit, because she was purposely doing this. She would marry somebody and she would get pregnant and she would take off with half their stuff, and then that's just kind of what she did. So she ended up having my older brother, and then she went through a couple other marriages, and then she ended up marrying my dad. So the thing with that is she was already pregnant when she met my dad. So obviously he wasn't my biological father. I didn't know this till I was about 16. But anyways, I pop out. He already knows that I'm not his kid, but he signs his name on the birth certificate anyways. And then he stays with her. He pops out my little sister, who really was his. And then finally she popped out my little brother, who popped out Mexican, which one of my dad's he owned a construction company. One of my dad's leads, he was Mexican. The day my little brother popped out, he took off and was never to be seen again, so we assume that he is his, but we don't know. Cue to me being about 16. At this point, she had been kicked out of our lives when I was like, I want to say 4 or 5, so I didn't really know her too well. And my dad had always told me kind of what a horrible person she was, and that I'm better off without her in my life, and I was raised completely by this guy, and I thought, 16, I'm independent, I'm a driver's license, I'm gonna go find her. So I went and found my biological mother, which was one of the worst decisions I'd ever made, but I think it was something that I needed to figure out for myself, just how bad of a person she really was. And that is when she told me, hey, the guy who's been raising you for the last 16 years of your life, yeah, he's not your dad. Which, of course, was kind of a shock to me, but at the same time, look at me. I'm fairly white. I could be translucent if I don't go out in the sun or put on some self-tanner. And the guy who raised me was Native American and blind. So it kind of made sense when I looked at me and looked at him, and he has dark skin and tall and skinny, and I'm very short and I'm very white. So it kind of made sense. I wasn't too bothered by it. But she told me my biological father's name, and I didn't believe her because there isn't a lot that she could have said that would make me believe her. But I just went throughout my life. When I went back to my dad, I said, hey, I went out and I searched my biological mother. I found her. She told me that you're not my dad. And his only response is, probably. He never said anything else about that. He's never mentioned anything else to this day about it. We both just kind of forgot that existed. I never had any inclination to go and find my biological father or anybody. But Q2, about a couple months ago, I get Ancestry for a Christmas present. And I'm like, oh, this is really cool. I've always wanted to do this. I want to know what I am. I have always wondered what I was. Obviously, I don't know my biological dad, and I had only met my biological mother a few times. She wasn't really in my life, even after I sought after her. And so I really had no idea what I was. So I decided to find out what in the world I was. My results came in. Now, anyone who's ever done Ancestry knows that if somebody else that is a relative of yours does Ancestry, it can match you up with that person. It'll tell you kind of the likelihood if you're a first degree, second degree, third degree. All of a sudden I have these two people on there that are a first degree relative. First degree meaning they are a sibling, a parent, an aunt, uncle, a grandparent, something within a 1 degree of separation. And one of the people I matched with as a first degree had the same last name as somebody who my biological mother had told me was my biological father. So I reach out to this person on Ancestry and I say, hey, my name is Misty. I was born in this year, this date. And my biological mother always told me that my biological father's name was XX. And you guys share the same last name. And he's like, he replied the same day. And he said, your biological mother wouldn't happen to be so-and-so. I said, yes, that is my biological mother. And he's like, well, I'm your brother, and that person would be your dad. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, it just wasn't something I was expecting. I wasn't looking for family. I wasn't looking for answers. I just wanted to know what I was, like what my ethnicity was, because I thought that would be really cool. And when I was told that I was not my dad's real kid, obviously there's a part of me that knew I probably had siblings out there. I obviously had a father out there, but I never put stock in it because to me, I have my family. I have an older brother who's half. I have a half younger sister and a half younger brother, and I have my dad, and I love my dad very much. So I never really thought much about it. So it came to a huge shock, and while yeah, my results were kind of cool, it really paled in comparison to finding my brother. Whereas my brother thought he was an only child up until about 2 weeks ago. So I think it was definitely more of a shock for him because he had no idea that I existed, whereas I knew there was a possibility that he existed. And he had called his dad, our dad, my dad, whatever, and said, hey, this person, you have a daughter out there, basically. Because Ancestry is not just going to lie and say, oh, ha, we're going to match you with someone. Like, there's evidence showing that he's my brother, and the timeline matches up to when he was with my biological mother. So he told him that he didn't want to meet me, mostly because he's, number one, afraid either that I want something from him, or two, that I'm still have a relationship with my biological mother, and there's definitely a lot of strain between those two in regards to that. Which I completely understand. I don't, I'm not upset at him for not wanting to meet me. I didn't, like I said, this wasn't something I searched out to go ahead and do. If he wants to, I'm open to it. But as of right now, he's not open to it. Whereas my new brother, on the other hand, we have talked a few times, we went for lunch. And we both have decided that we would like to try to make room in each other's lives for each other and to get to know each other a little bit more. So far, he seems like a very, very nice guy. He was a Marine. He has a family. I have 2 nephews and a niece on that side that I didn't know about. And both my grandparents on that side are still living too, which is something I've never had. I've never really had any grandparents. My dad, the one that raised me, his mom and dad died when I was really young. So I don't really remember them too much. I do a little bit, but I think I was like, 10 or 11 when the last one passed away. So I've never really known grandparents either. And so this is all really kind of exciting, kind of confusing, kind of not sure what to do from here. And yeah, so I guess I should just, I give you my results, I guess, at this point. So my results down here. So I'm going to look down here. I am 65% English. 16% Ireland or Scotland, 15% Norway, and then 4% Germanic Europe. Nothing exciting. I'm pretty much as white as they come. I'm English, Irish, and Norwegian are the 3 ones that I am. Nothing too exciting. I really want to get this for my little sister as well, who, again, we share the same mother. But I don't know. It would be interesting to see what we kind of have in common. According to, obviously, the new brother that I met, he found his, and he's almost like 100% English, so most of my English comes from that side, I would assume. So that's pretty interesting. I guess the only other thing I have to say is when you do Ancestry, or when you do 23andMe or any of these, you know, I know it's really, really exciting, but at the same time, know there's always the possibility that you can end up finding things either you don't want to know or that you didn't know. So just be prepared for that. I think that we're getting in this day and age where a lot of people want to find out more about the history, and it's kind of dropped by the wayside. And I think that's absolutely fantastic and wonderful, and I think that's super, super exciting. And I just want everyone to kind of be careful, I guess. When they're doing this, should just know that this is possible. And to me, I think it's really exciting. But I didn't even think about it. Like, obviously, I knew I had been told I was adopted. I was told that, I knew that I possibly had family out there. But I never, in a million years, thought that I would find them on Ancestry. I should have. It should have occurred to me. Like, thinking about it now, I'm like, wow, Misty, you're a moron. You should have known that. Obviously, you know you have family out there somewhere that you've never met. The likelihood of one of them popping up on here is fairly high. But for some reason, that just never dawned in my mind. So I think that's something to kind of keep in mind. Lastly, I guess I forgot to kind of put this in earlier, is I have a hard time believing that my biological father never knew I existed. And the reason that I have a hard time believing that is I have a hard time believing my biological mother did not try to get money for me. With my older brother, what she did is she got custody of him. Idaho is at this time, Idaho was a mother state, which meaning, unless the mother was incapacitated in some capacity, the mother would always get custody. And so what she would do is she would get custody of the child, and then she would sell them back to their dad. That is what she would do. That's what she would do for the kids that she would have. And so I have a really hard time believing that he didn't know me. Also, my little sister has pictures of my biological father, of him with me. The only thing I can think of is he didn't believe her when she said that I was his. That's the only thing I can think of, but I don't know for sure. He may never have known I existed. I have no idea what happened 28 years ago. But it's all, you know, kind of confusing, kind of scary, kind of exciting. It's something. So I really appreciate you taking this time to watch this video. I know it's kind of a longish one or not, I'm not sure. But yeah, thanks for watching. Have a great day.